guys, and welcome to my video on Haikyuu season 3 episode 7, is it? I know this is a little late, but I really haven't been home, and I said this last week too, but next week hopefully I should be able to have a review or like a video pretty soon after the episode has dropped, hopefully. But yeah, let's get into it. This episode had a lot of great character moments, mostly for Suga and Tsukki. We have Suga starting off as the setter in the fifth set. And it's really nice to see him just being first really nervous, and then Shimizu kind of trying to warm up his hands, and then everyone being really jealous. I thought that was really cute. Like, I don't ship it or anything, but I thought that was really cute because everyone is just smitten with Shimizu. I think that's really cute. But then we have going into the match, and we have you have Shida Torizawa kind of looking down on Suga because he is not as great of a setter as Kageyama is, and he's kind of textbook, and even Ocha was like, I wonder how he's gonna fare against Shida Torizawa because he's really not up to par, or up to par, whatever you say that. And you just have Suga, like, in the beginning it seems like he's kind of phased by it, and he sets a lot of tosses to Asahi and stuff like that. And Tendo is like, you're really easy to predict, you know that. And you just have Suga like taking it like a boss and being like, well, our spikers are strong, so it doesn't really matter if you can read me or not. And then you have the glorious moment of the synchronized attack where Nishinoya tosses to Suga and he spikes, and you have a flashback of him spiking with them, and that's just really nice because he's not just their setter, he can do other things as well, and he can grow as well, and I thought that was really nice. Because you have to consider that he's not a regular anymore, so there's still a point, of course, in learning new techniques, but he will never be sure if he can get to use these techniques because he's not a regular. So I really like that when we have Suga spiking. I really like that moment a lot because that's so nice. And then you have, of course, before getting to the Shida Torizawa stuff, we have the moment where Tsukki gets injured, and his expressions throughout the entire thing is just like, the best thing is like the build up to it, because the judges, they keep going back and forth to who should get that point because they don't know if it was out, who touched it, and what happened in between and stuff like that. So it just keep, like, it was a point to Karasuno, then it was a point to Shida Torizawa, and just like went back and forth, and like all the attention was taken off of Tsukki because people were like, okay, who got the point? And then you just have people going like, wait, I think there's something wrong with Tsukki, and you just like pan into him and he's just like holding his finger and there's blood coming out of him, and it's just like, oh my god, what the hell? And you just see his hand like all bloodied and stuff like that, and it's like, it doesn't look all too bad, but he can't play, of course, and you just have all those, like, especially when he thinks no one is looking, he has those really like pained expressions, and then he kind of like he goes back to being really snarky when people like talk to him and stuff like that, like just make sure we don't lose, and all those really fun things. And then you have when he goes down again, that pain expression, and his brother comes in and is like, you should trust your friends, and you just everything about that scene or moment or whatever was just so heartbreaking because Tsukki has literally like, what, 3 episodes ago, he had that moment where he finally got hooked on volleyball, and then he's taken out of the match because he got injured, and he knows, as well as everyone else, like everyone in the crowd even were like, okay, fuck, Karasuno's middle blocker just got taken out, they stand no chance anymore, because he's like the centerpiece of their defense, and he pressures Ushijima a lot. I think it's even Ukai or someone who says that because Tsukki is always there, because he does replugging, no matter what, there will always be a wall in front of you when Tsukki is playing against you. And even if Tsukki can't actually block you, that's still gonna put a lot of stress on you because you can't have a clear spike there. No matter what you do, there won't be like a clear path for you to spike the ball, and that's gonna build up all that stress, which of course is Tsukki's whole plan to do, because if he can put a lot of stress on Ushijima and all the other spikers, then of course they are more likely to make mistakes, which he of course took advantage of those 3 or 4 episodes ago. But when Tsukki's not there anymore, they don't have that strong defense, and they don't have those people to put that pressure, because Tsukki he wasn't only their best blocker, he was also the person in charge of their blocking, so they can't time it well because that was Tsukki's forte. There's a reason he took over as the centerpiece of their blocks. So it's just like a really shit situation for them, and then we get into the Shida Torisao thing. Let's start with Tendo, because I think his story is like the saddest, because he was always perceived as this monster, like the way he blocked, the way he looked, just like the way he was. And all he really ever wanted was to play volleyball, and he wanted to be like this blogger who took points by blocking. As he has a great line of saying, ever since I just like smacked that thing down and saw that face, which he also sees on Suga later, I knew what kind of volleyball I wanted to play. And I really liked the conversation he basically had with Washido Sensei, where he's like, I just want to play volleyball, I just want to play my kind of volleyball, and he's just like, well, as long as you take points, I don't care. Like, that's all I want for you, to take points. And you just have that look in his face. That's just really nice, because he has such an interesting personality and a very unique personality, and while he does try his best to socialize, there's of course a lot of people who's gonna be put off of him. As I said in the beginning of these videos, I didn't like Tendo, because I didn't like his personality, and the anime has done a really good job making him really likable, because I really like his energy, and just like his voice actor does a really good job of putting a lot of emotion into him. But then going to Ushijima, because they're very unlikely and weird friends. They eat together, talk with each other, and we find out what made Ushijima start playing volleyball, and it basically came from his father, who was a volleyball player, and they played together, and he wanted to take advantage of Ushijaka's left-handedness, and it makes it seem like his father kind of pressured him to doing it, but like it's easy enough to see that Ushijaka did want to do this for himself, and he did say like, the reason I play is because I wanted to become that person who was the strongest. Because his father describes their ace, and he's like, our ace was the best in Japan, and you just have Ushijaka kind of looking at him, and Ushijaka's like, yeah, I wanted to be like that, I wanted to be that spiker, so that no matter what, you knew that when I spiked, I would score that point. And then you have Ushijaka in the end just being fired up. This episode was just really great for both teams and their like characterizations and personalities, because it's just really hard to root against any of them. Like, you're always gonna be rooting for Krasno, but because there's so much put into the characters they're facing, it's hard to root against the other team. So you root for Krasno, but you don't root against Shida Torisao. That's at least how I feel. But I'm a little sad though, they didn't include one of like a really fun moment where when Tendo and Ushijima are talking, and Tendo is like, well, you don't like that number 10 because he's like unknown, and unknown usually means scary. And then in the manga you have this really great panel of things that Ushijima is maybe not scared of, but is unknown. So like you have sea squirts, you have the girl from the ring, and then you have Hinata. And I always thought that panel was so funny, because it's like the weirdest three things to compare to each other. Sea squirts, the girl from the ring, and Hinata. I'm a little sad they didn't include that, but whatever, it's just a little moment. And I'd recommend that you read this match in the manga after you've seen the season if you haven't read the manga already, because there are a lot of like small moments that they skipped. And of course there was the whole thing that I talked about in the last episode where they just skipped a whole explanation, but I mean, yeah, they have done a really good job of this season, and it's of course hard to put everything in. I mean, they've skipped things before, but I feel like it's not been as prominent as in this season, which again is okay. It does nothing to the overall story and the characterization, except for that last episode, which I was still a little salty about. But yeah, either way, it was a good episode, and I'm probably gonna watch it again because this is Haikyuu and I watch way too much Haikyuu. But yeah, it was a good episode, and I was really, really fucking fired up watching it, especially with Suga. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I covered everything, and if I didn't, you can leave in the comments below what I missed. And yeah, if you like anything that I have to say, you can leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of me, you can subscribe. But until next time, bye!